Hey, what's up guys? Today, I'll show you a horror drama film, IVANNA. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. The movie begins in 1943, Indonesia, where we see some innocent people getting killed and beaten by a group of Japanese imperial soldiers. A Dutch woman named IVANNA manages to get away from the brutal onslaught and finds some hostages trapped inside a room. Amongst these hostages is IVANNA's friend Curly, so she frees all of them and tries to make an escape. However, there are too many soldiers around the area, so IVANNA tells Curly and the others to run away while she creates a distraction. Curly doesn't want IVANNA to sacrifice her life, but he eventually escapes as well. As IVANNA makes her way out of the room, she's knocked out by a soldier, after which she's taken to the garden outside. The Japanese general meets IVANNA and ridicules her for helping Curly and the others. We learn that IVANNA is actually a spy for the general, but has changed her mind after seeing his murderous ways. IVANNA begs the general for hormone mercy and says that she has no other country to go to. However, he simply scolds her and begins to choke her neck with his bare hands, but spare her sexy body. Luckily, Curly drops by and saves IVANNA by pushing away the general before he can kill her. Curly takes IVANNA's hand and tries to run away with her, but the general shoots at them and seemingly strikes, after which we move to the present. We see a blind girl named Ambar and her brother Bro playing games with each other inside a bus. Suddenly, Ambar senses someone behind her, but only sees a blurry image when she turns around. Bro, however, isn't able to see anyone and tells Ambar to forget about it. The bus drops off the siblings, and then they make their way to a retirement home through the forest. Ambar has to rely on her brother to guide her through the forest because she cannot see what's in front of her. After some time, the siblings eventually run into their caretaker, along with her son, Dude. Ambar and Bro have a word with the caretaker, and then they are taken inside the retirement home to check out their rooms. Bro spots a piano and plays some tunes, while Ambar chats with Dude, who is revealed to be a friend of hers. The caretaker takes the siblings to meet the old-age people living here, and everyone gets acquainted with the new arrivals. The caretaker leaves, now that she's introduced Ambar and Bro. Then, a girl named Babe makes her appearance and is shown to be the main person taking care of everyone inside the retirement home. Everyone in the room discusses the upcoming holy festival, and then a handsome man named Stud arrives to visit his grandma. He finds Ambar attractive, so he tries to flirt with her immediately, but Dude senses his hormone attempt and tells Stud to behave himself. Later, Dude helps Ambar understand how to use the intercom, which can relay information all over the retirement home. However, he is very friendly with her, and it makes Babe jealous because she is Dude's girlfriend. Outside the retirement home, Bro plays frisbee with the old men, but he accidentally sends the frisbee flying inside an abandoned cottage. Stud advises Bro not to go inside the cottage as it starts to rain heavily. However, Bro insists on checking it out so that he can get his frisbee back. Some time passes by, and Ambar grows worried for her brother, so she goes to look for him. When she enters, she eventually bumps into Bro and Stud. Now, Stud tries to flirt with Ambar once more by asking whether she has a boyfriend, but she simply ignores his hormone advances and moves ahead to find Bro, possibly because Stud smells pretty bad to her, despite his handsome figure, which she cannot see. However, Ambar suddenly feels a crack in the wooden floor. She collapses the floor and falls down into a basement due to her heavy weight. Stud and Bro come to her aid and help drag her heavy body out, after which they explore the basement. Ambar notices something underneath a piece of cloth, and it turns out to be a headless corpse. The trio assumes that it's actually a statue, and they try to figure out what it's doing there. They get interrupted when Dude also enters the basement. Ambar turns away from the headless corpse, but it instantly gets up and tries to attack her. Sensing danger, Ambar turns around but finds the corpse is back in its place. The group also finds a treasure chest inside the basement, so they bring it back to the hall, hoping to find items of value. Inside the chest are old vinyl records and photos that date back to the Japanese invasion shown earlier in the film. Stud plays one of the vinyl records, and everyone has a nice time dancing with each other to the classical tunes. Suddenly the lights go off, and a storm surrounds the retirement home. With nothing else to do, Ambar and Bro go to sleep while Babe cooks some soup to be served the next day. She gets scared by Dude, who abruptly walks in on her, and she also berates him for focusing too much on Ambar. Dude tells Babe that he thinks of Ambar as a sister and proves his point by getting romantic with her using his muscles. The couple is about to engage in some midnight hormone yoga, but the annoying door next to the kitchen suddenly opens, so Dude has to inspect it. There's nobody like a peeping Tom there, so Dude and Babe go to their room to resume their yoga therapy in privacy. In the middle of the night, Ambar wakes up to some weird noises on the intercom, which sound like a Dutch song. She doesn't notice that a mysterious figure is lurking behind the windows, later revealed to be IVANNA's headless body. Ambar follows the sounds and wanders into the dining room where there's another intercom. As Ambar reaches out to the intercom, headless IVANNA bumps into her, and then she gets transported to a flashback where she sees IVANNA with Curly. We pick up right after the end of the previous flashback, and it turns out that the general ended up shooting Curly in the leg. Ambar is shocked to have her eyesight back, but Bro holds her hand and brings her back to reality before she can see anything else. Ambar is confused, but decides to go back to her room with her brother. However, the vinyl record starts playing by itself, and the doors open up to suggest an ominous presence entering the retirement home. An old lady named Wrinkle is woken up by the vinyl record's music, so she goes out of her room to investigate it. Wrinkle finds the record and shuts it down, but it starts playing again. Wrinkle repeats the process one more time, but then she notices some plates fallen onto the floor. She tries to pick up the plates, but suddenly smells some stinky feet next to her. Wrinkle looks up to see headless IVANNA and runs away like a scared chicken. She locks herself inside a room, but IVANNA is already there, and she strangles Wrinkle to death while also pooping her eyes out in a gruesome sequence. The next day, Babe finds out that her soup has gone bad, and she thinks of it as a bad omen. She tells Dude about it, but he doesn't care for such superstitions and tells her there's enough food for everyone. Ambar wakes up and asks Dude about the sounds she heard on the intercom, but he says he didn't hear anything at all. To add on to the confusion, the headless corpse is seen on a chair inside the hall, but everyone still believes it to be a statue and suspects Stud to be playing a prank on them. Stud denies it, so everyone leaves the topic for now. A bald man named Baldy shows Ambar a diary he found from the treasure chest, and we learn that the diary belonged to IVANNA. Baldy explains that IVANNA was a Dutch woman living in Indonesia, and the retirement home used to be her private residence. Unfortunately, IVANNA had tragically lost her family in this very same house. That's when Ambar tells Baldy that she might be blind, but also has the ability to see supernatural visions, just like how she saw the flashback last night. Now, everyone gets together for a picture, but Wrinkle is nowhere to be found. Babe checks her room, but without any luck, so everyone starts looking for Wrinkle, assuming that she might have lost her way. Ambar follows a trail of water and enters the same room where Wrinkle was killed the previous night. Ambar finds Wrinkle's corpse, which is also headless, and screams out of fear, but in a chicken voice. The others rush to the scene and are horrified to see Wrinkle's body. Ambar gathers some courage and hugs her brother, telling him that everything is going to be alright. Another storm arrives, so Stud decides to escape with his grandma in order to get away from whoever the killer might be. However, Dude says that they should stay inside the retirement home because the killer could be lurking outside, waiting for them. Stud gets upset and is about to get into an argument with Dude, but Babe calms the situation and convinces Stud's grandma to stay inside the retirement home for now. The group has also alerted the police about Wrinkle's death, so the cops should be on their way. Stud briefly notices that the headless corpse is missing from the chair, but when he tells the others about it, they see the corpse just the way it was. Stud is accused of lying some bullshit, but Ambar believes him and tells everyone what she saw last night after hearing the Dutch song on the intercom. Babe doesn't believe Ambar because she is blind, but the group doesn't have any time for a debate. Now a cop arrives at the retirement home, and the group takes him to check Wrinkle's body. Cop is shocked to see such a smelly body and immediately pukes out of disgust. As Cop goes to his car to call for backup, he spots headless IVANNA approaching him in the rear-view mirror. However, when he looks behind, he doesn't find anyone there, and even his radio has stopped working. Meanwhile, Baldy explains to everyone what he learned from IVANNA's diary. It turns out IVANNA was a comfort woman for the Japanese general and used to spy on the locals for him. Before Baldy can continue, Cop enters the retirement home and tries to make a call, but learns that the lines have been disconnected. Now Bro brings Ambar's attention towards the headless corpse, which he believes has just stood up. Ambar is unable to see anything supernatural, but the vinyl record starts playing again, and she is taken to yet another flashback vision, where IVANNA's sexy body gets dragged away by the very same hostages that she had rescued earlier. IVANNA is brutally beaten and tortured by these hostages, despite Curly doing his best to make them stop. As she is seeing this vision, Ambar walks around the house and is followed by the others, who are also able to see what's happening through the shadows on the wall. Now, the vision shows the general mocking IVANNA for being betrayed by the hostages she tried to help. IVANNA gets frustrated, so after cursing all the evil hostages who betrayed her, she attacks the general. But the general chops her head off without hormone mercy, and Ambar screams out of fear upon witnessing this sight. Now, Ambar sees Curly taking IVANNA away, so she follows him outside the retirement home and into the abandoned cottage where IVANNA's headless corpse was found. The group splits up as Stud and another two follow Ambar into the basement while the others wait outside. Ambar sees Curly playing music and dancing, after which he turns IVANNA's body into a statue so that she can live forever as a ghost. Then, Curly goes to attack the general and the evil hostages, but gets overpowered and is seemingly killed. The flashback vision gets over, but then, IVANNA appears to flex her headless body and starts choking Cop. Dude tries to save him by charging at IVANNA with a stick, but she walks through it and tears Dude's handsome head off while the others watch in horror. The group quickly runs for their shitty lives and tries to lock headless IVANNA inside the basement. After that, they rush into Cop's bulletproof police car, hoping it's also ghost-proof. Unfortunately, Cop isn't able to start the too-scared car, and then IVANNA arrives without her head. She communicates through the high-tech radio rather than her psychic power, saying that she wants her head back. In a terrifying sequence, headless IVANNA forcefully drags Stud's grandma out of the car and tears her dying head off in front of everyone, possibly because she's jealous of grandma's dying head, better than none. Stud gets out of the car and tries to kill IVANNA, but it's of no use as even he suffers the same fate. Scared and confused, the group doesn't know what to do, but then Ambar suggests destroying the headless corpse inside the hall. The group rushes to the hall and they find the headless corpse, after which Ambar sees a vision where General dumps IVANNA's head into the well outside. The group acts fast and rushes to the well with the headless corpse. Cop uses an axe to smash the statue, which is covering IVANNA's rotting remains. The group decides to gather the remains into alcohol bottles and burn them along with IVANNA's head inside the well, which is luckily dry. However, IVANNA shows up without her head and starts to choke Ambar and her brother. Babe acts fast and attacks IVANNA with the axe, causing her and the two siblings to fall into the well. Ambar wakes up and looks for her brother, but finds IVANNA's head instead, which screams at her like a mad turkey. Ambar throws the annoying head away and calls out to Bro, but IVANNA starts to haunt her by using the darkness in the well. Ambar almost slashes her brother with the axe amidst the confusion, so Babe throws a lighter into the well to help the blind Ambar not to see but burn IVANNA's remains. However, IVANNA attacks Ambar and is about to rip her head off out of jealousy. Bro acts fast and activates the lighter to burn IVANNA's remains, causing her to be lit into flames. Headless IVANNA tries one last attack, but Ambar is able to stab her multiple times. After that, she burns away into ashes. Ambar and her brother hug each other now that the horror is finally over, and soon help arrives to take them out of the well. 1 week later, as Ambar and the survivors move out of the retirement home, she notices a photo of IVANNA with another girl. Baldy explains that this is IVANNA's sister, so Ambar takes the photo along with her. The movie ends with the vinyl record player starting again, suggesting that IVANNA is still lurking around. This is Daniel CC Movie Channel. Stay safe and enjoy your day.